Hi everyone, Mike Mahon here. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about sketchbooks and the importance of maintaining a sketchbook, and then show you a few samples of the sketches I've done in the past. No matter what your real interest is in art, whether it's just drawing or painting in whatever medium, or sculpture, just whatever you like to do in art, there is no more important skill than learning how to draw. Because basically, drawing is the skill of observation. It is in drawing that you learn how to really observe the world outside of yourself. And that's the only way you can ever really successfully reproduce what you see and then transform what you see into something that expresses your own feelings, in your own reflections on the visual world and on the spiritual world. And so I really encourage putting an emphasis in your art career or your art interest in drawing. And one of the most important tools in learning how to draw and draw well is sketching. Doing a lot of sketching, quick drawings, or long-term drawings, but basically using a simple, inexpensive tool, and that is the sketchbook. These are just a few sketchbooks that I've accumulated over a period of time, and frankly, to be honest, I should be filling up this many every year. I don't, but for those that really want to progress in their art and their ability to observe and to really see well, using a sketchbook and using it heavily is a wonderful tool. And you want to use it as mainly an extension of yourself. I recommend to carry a sketchbook of some kind, preferably a small one that is easy to put in a pocket or into a jacket, something that you can carry around easily with you with just a pen or a pencil, or whatever you like to draw with, and constantly be ready at any moment whether you're waiting in a doctor's office or riding in the train or sitting out in your car looking for a location to paint, whatever the case may be, always have your sketchbook available. And another great thing about a sketchbook is you not only can use it for doing sketches and drawings of activities you might be involved in, but you can also use it to keep your notes about scenes that you're looking at, or notes about anything, whether it's just a diary type note. But these notes can be very helpful to remind you of things that you're doing or learning. Like this was part of a workshop. I was taking notes of what the instructor was saying, and then also doing sketches of what they were teaching. And then another thing that I really highly recommend in regarding your sketchbooks is that you use them in those times that you tend to be bored, to make those useful times. One of the ways I use a sketchbook is if I have to go to a meeting, a business type meeting or a conference or anything where I'm going to be sitting in meetings all day long, I take a sketchbook along and I draw the people sitting around me or the scenes that present themselves in just everyday locations. And so instead of spending 3, 4, 5, 6 hours in a meeting during the day and being bored, take some time, use your sketchbook, and sketch just whatever is around you, especially people and people's faces, if that's what you're interested in. And that way you'll be putting to use a time that otherwise may be largely wasted. Now, if they're teaching you how to do brain surgery, then maybe you might pay a little bit more attention, but almost in any meeting I've ever been to, there's a significant amount of time where I really don't need to pay that much attention to the speaker. And also the great thing about our minds is that you can actually sketch, use your visual tools in your mind, and you can still hear what's going on. So I recommend highly, keep a sketchbook with you. Always be ready to use it. And if you're not going to be in a situation where you're in groups or riding a bus or sitting on a bench out at a park or something like that, then just have it ready so that you can be prepared for an unusual event that would come up. So always think in the back of your mind, how can I use my sketchbook today? And if you don't have a good opportunity otherwise, draw things around your home. Everything has an interest visually. So I'll show you a few samples. I'm going to go through some of my sketchbooks here and show you how I use it to record things of interest to me, and how it has helped me in learning how to draw and to draw better and enjoy things that I'm doing that otherwise I might not enjoy as much. I'm just going to show you a sample of a few sketchbooks and how they can be useful. I like to go to music festivals, and I like to draw people in action. And like most of the sketches you'll see in this book are more like gesture drawings, showing people in action, probably no more than 1.5 to 3 minute sketches of people and musicians, whatever the action is. I like to reproduce it and give it kind of the feeling that I'm getting from the music as I'm listening, to get an impression of the particular artists that are performing. And it's just a great way to participate artistically in a different medium. Or in this case, I'm in a business type meeting where I'm just drawing pictures of the people that are in the meeting, sketching them in all kinds of situations and angles. You learn a lot about body gesture, how to get a quick impression, and you just learn how to observe and to really see detail. These are typical things I use it for. Here's notes I took of lessons I was taking from a particular artist, a presentation he was making. A very useful way to keep track of things and to illustrate what you're learning. I just can't emphasize too much how useful your sketchbook will be to you. And I find it a better memory tool than taking photographs, because when you're drawing it, it really makes a much deeper impression on you than just a quick photograph. And you can, groups of people. Here's one of my favorite ones of an old friend of mine that is a great guy. You went to the University of Texas, obviously. I'll show you another couple of quick samples here from another book showing people in different activities. They can be doing anything from playing music to here's one, probably about a 3-minute drawing. You learn by doing this. You learn to really see things and observe them and emotionally respond to them. And with a little training and practice, you can actually do fairly good, careful drawings in a very short period of time. Or they can be very emotional with listening to the music and drawing with the beat of the music is what I like to do a lot of. I go to a lot of these festivals. Now here's another business meeting that, while it was an important meeting, I had some time to just really, look at the folks that were involved in it and study the portraits, the face structure, and put into practice things that I learned in long studies where I'm maybe spending an hour or two on a particular drawing, and they can become very stiff and overworked. Whereas if you're doing a 2 or 3 minute sketch like this, you tend to get the emotion and the gesture, which is really more important sometimes than extreme detail. And this is the kind of stuff that really will show up in your paintings as well, because you learn how to put emotions into your work. I have an older book here. They got some older paintings of drawings in it, and some of these are from life drawing classes. Some drawing my granddaughters. Some of my granddaughters got into my books, which was just as much fun. Here's a picture I'm really proud of. I went to a portrait convention one time, and Daniel Green was one of the main speakers. I did a study of him while he was painting, and this is really a good way to learn how to draw where you're under pressure, drawing somebody that's actually in action and moving, and you have to really learn to see because they're constantly in motion. There he is again working on a portrait. So and then the mundane things like just things around the house, doing drawings of tennis shoes. Here, for example, this is a great exercise in learning how to draw well, doing what's called a contour drawing in your sketchbooks. Just the things you find around your studio can be very helpful. I can spend an hour just doing a drawing like this that will enhance your skills and observation skills. I don't even know what that is now. I think it was the backpack. But the skills you learn in this kind of drawing, where you're using your sketchbook just to practice, you're not trying to do finished drawings. You're just trying to learn to see, to put down what you see, and to observe. I can't stress that enough. I know I repeat it too much. But it's observation and seeing, getting unique views of people and putting it down in a meaningful way. So I really encourage learning how to use your sketchbook. Use it regularly. Do as many as you can every week. Make it a practice to spend a few minutes a day. It doesn't take much effort to put a few minutes a day into your drawings. This was I went to a political event, and each of the people that were running for office, as they gave speeches, I would do quick sketches of them, and believe me, it made the speeches and the time I spent there much more interesting than if I'd just been sitting there and not using that time in a meaningful way and applying my talents plus using my sketchbook. And all of these things are great memories, great ways to make the best use of your time. And so I highly recommend using your sketchbook to really develop your drawing skills. But for now, I hope you've learned something and been able to enjoy seeing what a sketchbook can do for you in terms of developing your skills. Here I was doing a gesture drawing of a face, learning how to draw what it felt like rather than necessarily what it looked like. Now here I'm going to show you a series of quick sketches done at one of my favorite events. I go to a music festival in Taos, New Mexico every year, and I love to paint or draw actually and sketch as I watch the performers and listen to them and actually get into the rhythm of the music as I draw. And what I'm most interested in is getting a quick impression of the gesture and the body positions and so forth, and the energy of what I'm seeing on stage. And this is where sketching can really help your skills at depicting action and drama in your work.
Fly away in the moonlight. Oh, how I love to sail away on a Zydeco tune. I'm in heaven when I hold you. Lion-Cated Angel.
The trick here is to learn how to work with figures in motion and to sketch them, which is really challenging. And I found that there is one tip I can give you that I basically got about 20 or more years ago from Kim English, a great a la prima painter who paints figures in landscape. And the tip I can give you is the same basic tip a court reporter or artist technique that they use in drawing figures in motion in the courtroom. As you observe a person in a particular action, you'll find that they have a default position that you will see them take as they go through a series of action, whether they're singing or talking or walking or whatever. They'll continually fall back to kind of a default body position. And so as the artist, what you do is observe the motion and figure out what default position does this person keep falling back to and coming back to that you see over and over again. And then you start drawing that default position. And every time that he takes that default position, then you start drawing. And as soon as the person moves to another position, you stop and you wait for them to go to that default position. And then when they go back to that default position, you start drawing again. And you go through this, and in a series of a 3 or 4 or 5 minute song, for example, you'll find the artist will take the same position over and over again. And so you'll be able to do the drawing maybe over even 5 or 10 minutes, but your actual drawing time might be 2 or 3 minutes. So this is the key to being able to draw figures in action. And then the other tip I'd like to give you is that you want to work towards economy of line. Now, and this is particularly important in drawing and sketching because, of course, the very nature of drawing is you're dealing with lines, whereas in painting you're dealing more with values as your essential basic element. But in drawing, lines are crucial, and the expressions of lines as you put them on paper is critically important. And you want to learn to work towards the economy of line. In other words, learn how to depict a particular gesture or motion or shape with as few lines as possible. See how economically you can demonstrate what it is you're wanting to depict. And the more efficient you become at that, the faster you can paint and draw. You see this in particularly in great cartoonists, their extreme economy of line, where with just a few lines they can create a very believable image.
Midnight flyer, engineer, won't you let your whistle blow? Runaway team of horses ain't enough to make me stay, so I'm throwing you off on another man, then throw him down your way. Make him into someone to take the place of me, make him every kind of fool you wanted me to be. Midnight flyer, engineer, won't you let your whistle blow? And I feel like traveling on. Maybe I'll go to Santa Fe, maybe San Antonio. Any town is where I'm bound anyway to get me gone. Don't think about me, never let me cross your mind, except when you hear that midnight lonesome whistle